Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Joining me today are General Dushyant Singh and General Ravi Shankar. General Rajiv Narayanan, I hope, will join us soon. So let's welcome the good generals. Namaskar, sir. How are you?
Namaskar
Namaskar,
and thanks a lot.
we are fine.
Thank you so much, sir. And each one of you is in different countries, different cities, also traveling away from your hometowns. So I really, really appreciate it that you have found time to come on this channel. Viewers, this is coming live to you from Klaus, Gunnershot, as well as P Gurus. Wherever you are, please like this video because we are going to be discussing things that perhaps are not usually discussed in mainstream media. I'll just set the context for both of you generals. 1991. I was working in the Valley and it was a small startup. We had, in those times, if you had to do chip design, you'd have this huge Sun Microsystems. It's about like 4 feet, or by the time you get everything, it's a huge box. And we had rented a new office. It had nice glass windows and it looked the main street. And one weekend, we got robbed. And when we came on Monday morning, everything was taken out. We were amazed that somebody had the capacity to lift some of these Sun systems. And so when we called the police came and asked us to give an inventory of what we are missing. He just signed it and just said, "Good luck. I hope you have insurance." This is 1991. 34 years ago, the California police had long given up the capacity to catch anyone, any criminal. And today, I don't even have to tell you, 2 years ago, my gardener lost a bunch of his implements sitting right. The pickup truck was parked right in front of my house, and I had CCTV footage. And I know the local police officer. I gave him all the stuff. Nothing ever got done. So somehow people are trudging along in the United States. This thing, I can feel it day in and day out. But from across the world, I'd like your opinion, because this is just one instance of law and order. Should not become the yardstick for everything. Rural US is quite safe, but the cities are facing the brunt of this now. And you can see the riots yesterday. San Francisco, the Golden Gate was probably sagging because there were so many people standing on the Golden Gate Bridge. So I set the stage here. General Ravi Shankar, General Dushyant Singh, you have traveled extensively in the United States. Tell us the 30, 40-year decline that has started a long time ago. Give us your opening thoughts and then we'll get into it in more detail. So General Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for making me the opening batsman in this talk.
So you are our Sehwag, sir. He's our Tendulkar.
Yeah. Look, it's like this.
Virendra Sehwag.
Yeah, look, it's like this. America is a great nation. Whatever you say, it's always had the capacity to come out of a problem, whether it was the Great Depression or the Pearl Harbor, or for that matter 9/11, or for that matter the pandemic. It's always come back fighting, and partly because of the American people who all pulled together, and it always had a great leader. Okay, except the pandemic period, we didn't have a great leader, no doubt. But today in Trump, it has a leader, a strange leader who I've never seen in USA, who's conflated his personal equation, his personal fame, his personal wealth with that of the state. And
Yes.
the way he does things, there's no differentiation between these, right? State gets mixed with his personal issues and all that. And given the fact that America over a period of time has every country goes through this cycle, has probably reached the pinnacle of its existence as a great nation. It can either plateau out or go down. There's not much headroom to move up. But with a poor leader like Trump, I call him poor leader very, very, consciously. It has, he's heralding a decline. That's my conviction. Right. Why? I'll give few short points. We'll get into the details a little later. He has turned friends into foes. He's, sucking up to adversaries. He's made some strange bedfellows like in Pakistan, right? It's not that because Pakistan is anti-India, but it's funny. He has divided USA. He has divided USA like no one else. I mean, can you imagine, a day when the 250th anniversary of the US Army is being celebrated by a parade? Equally, there is a protest all over USA of no kings, and things like that on immigration. Completely divided. It's a polarized America. So these are the portents of a decline. There are internal factors and there are external factors. I'll keep this opening sentence, gambit very short, limited here, and we'll go into the nitty gritties a little later. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. General Dushyant Singh, you've been across the United States. You've spent some time on the West Coast as well as the East Coast. General Dushyant Singh, again, you are interacting very actively across the world. Your perception as to why it is slipping. There is absolutely no doubt that the United States is slipping. I mean, I can feel it in my bones. So many things are, just let things slide, that sort of stuff. Your thoughts are, especially California is at the forefront of it, and it's one of the worst states to live in. But there are great places also. Silicon Valley is a shining example, for example. Sir, over to you.
Before I actually come to California, California was considered as one of the favorites as far as the immigrants were concerned. So
Yes.
California did enjoy a peak of popularity, but over a period of time, I think because of the liberalism which has taken so deep roots, I think it is now almost comparing itself to the situation which was there during Trudeau's time in Canada. So something like that also gives rise to internal protests, etc., questioning the central authority, questioning the state authority. So there has been a kind of a decline in the social cohesion. I think that's a major problem which America is facing overall. But in California, I see it happening quite regularly. Having said that, it's not a one-off phenomena, or it is not a recent phenomena. If you look at it from a perspective of hard facts, the GDP of US was about 25 trillion in 2023. It would have increased to definitely more than that. It shared global GDP was 40% in 1960. Today it has been reduced to about 20, just over 20%. That's a huge decline. So there are some hard facts which are declining the power of. And after all, one of the major factors of power in any country is the economy. If you look at the public debt, it's standing at around 33 trillion, which is a huge thing. If you compare it in terms of it's about 120%, and comparable to the many nations in the world. So therefore, I don't think there is a economic stability as of now in America, and that is somehow pushing Trump, also affecting Trump adversely by undertaking some norm breaking steps in economy, which I think are going to be counterproductive. For example, the manufacturing has declined by 28% from 1950. It stands at 11%. So what has happened? The inherent capability of a nation to produce has gone down. Yes, they are still ahead in the AI and the new emerging technologies. They are world leader without any question. Their defense budget is roughly around $900 billion, which is more than the combined total of the first 10 countries' defense budget, including China. So military power they still enjoy, but that military power is getting questioned by their actions in Afghanistan, their actions in Iraq. So therefore, in most of these, you will find even in Afghanistan action, it was Trump who decided to pull out. So willy-nilly, after the Biden fiasco, which happened when he actually conducted the operation of pulling out, but ultimately the blame lies squarely on Trump. As far as pulling out is concerned, he should have possibly guessed that interacting with terrorists regime is always going to be counterproductive. And I think he continues to follow that line by interacting with the Syrians as far as Syria is concerned, interacting with the Talibanis even now, and with Pakistan. So, knowing fully well that Pakistan cannot be trusted, Osama bin Laden was found there, yet he's trying to defy the norms of international policy making. So, in my view, these are the signs of, in Hindi, we call it as Vipreet Kale
Vina,
Vinash. So
would be.
yeah, his mind seems to be going somewhere haywire. I don't know where it is going. Then you take the demographic health of America. I think 40% of the guys are suffering from obesity. There are 70,000 opioid deaths annually taking place. The population replacement is at 1.6, and thanks to the immigrants, they are able to sustain it. If the immigrants were not there, then I suppose America would have been further into decline. And from that perspective, people are saying that even the immigrants now can't save them, because even the immigrants have got used to the American life. So the per woman ratio is about 1.6. It can't really increase anymore. I got my own children there. They all follow that same logic: one child, one norm. I don't know why, but materialism has taken over. Demographic health is life sustenance, 78%, matching India, supposed to be a developed country. So there are many issues, but most importantly, I find in the social media there is a 50-50 divide. Some view Trump as the driver of decline of America, and some view Trump as the fighter of decline of America. Now this 50-50% polarization is leading to absolute social cohesion conflict taking place, which can be seen from the kind of incidents which are happening, whether it is in Los Angeles, or whether it is in San Francisco. We will see more of these. We will see more of this, and my perception is that until and unless there is a leader who is likely to unite the uh, US in a bipartisan manner, we are going to find the situation deteriorating, because the percentage of people, and these are, I'm quoting from polls which have taken place, whether it is Pew polls or any other polls, I'm quoting from there, is that other parties 80% opposed. That means, if I am from party X, for me the other party, opposition party, is 80% inefficient, ineffective. Now in this kind of an environment where America was known to be bipartisan in number of activities, is slowly reducing, and which will ultimately affect their economy, and which will affect their social cohesion. And if this happens, I'm sorry, the US is likely to see further decline. Uh, Currently, it is on top. Currently, it is number one. No denial on that. But anything which is number one, there are indicators that it is slightly going down the hill. So I'll stop here, and then we'll take on as issues come by one by one.
Thank you so much, sir. General Ravi Shankar, I'd like you to expand on one of the things that the US is unable to do, which is even its long trusted friend, Israel, has stopped listening to them. They are hearing what US is saying, but they are not listening to them. So this, to me, is a big shift. Even Biden was able to convince Netanyahu from attacking Iran, but Trump could not. So this is just one example that I'm quoting here. But there has been a general, we know what we are doing. Thank you very much. That sort of attitude that is coming through. See, Iran-Israel is now becoming a full-blown conflict. Both sides are taking out some important assets of the other side. Given that, and Trump, he said no, 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 but looks like he was saying yes, yes, yes with his hand, no, no, no with your mouth. Looks like. So untangle this for us, because I'm also hearing 3 F-35s took off from Pakistan, Sargodha and Noor Khan base, to essentially go and bomb the hell out of Iran, sir.
Yeah.
There is
Well, let's get out of this Iran Israel thing and look at Trump objectively. Because I'll get back to the subject. Is Trump heralding US decline? Let me examine it from that point of view. You see, Trump, we all know, is transactional by nature. He conflicts his issues with national issues. There's no separation. These two are there, and plus he prides himself on being a deal maker, and he's got a personal ambition of getting a Nobel Prize. And Trump is all about me, I, and myself. It's not others. It's not America. Make America great again is a vehicle for him to be the greatest U.S. president. That's what he keeps talking of. Now that's a character flaw. Now, how is that character flaw transposed into things which will herald a decline? That's the point which I want to put across. Look, NATO is an alliance which has withstood, seven decades of existence. Now he's breaking it up. You will say, no, he's not breaking it up. He's not breaking it up, but virtually he's breaking it up. He's told everyone in NATO, okay, you are on your own. You increase your defense spending to 3% and all. If everyone increases his defense spending to 3%, why will they listen to USA? Very fundamental thing. Okay? And if everyone, like, Germany or, anyone, you take any country, it has to spend 2 to 3% on its defense. He'll say, I'll take care of it myself. Why should I buy something which to feed the American system? And that is the dominant thing which is coming. If that happens, the American system loses and it starts declining. The power of or the hold over Europe is falling away. Now Europe is looking at its own security. Britain, Germany, and France have got together. You might say they're useless, this, that, all that. But the fact that they've started thinking that we are on our own, America will not come to us, will not come to our rescue, it will not undermine. The way he's handled Ukraine, okay, it appears as if, complete US policy turned on its head when he went and made friends with Putin. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. But what I'm trying to say, his old friends now view him with suspicions. Neither has he been able to make good headway with Putin. Putin has played him so far. So the very grand thing, I'll get peace in a day, I'll stop this war, has not happened. 6 months into Trump presidency, that war is going on in its own scheme in some other direction. If anything, the way he's handled the whole thing is anti-peace. There's no peace there. So if that doesn't happen, the American power starts declining. If the American geopolitical power starts declining, well, America is declining. People lose trust. Geopolitical trust is gone. Now he's scared all the smaller countries. Look, no one wants to depend on USA. These Africans, Latin Americans, all that. Everyone is worried. You want Greenland, you want Panama, you want Colombia, you want everything. You want everything around you to be under you. Look, that's no way. Now that's pushing people away. One of America's greatest powers greatest assets was that people wanted to be with America. Now people are worried, should I be with America? Look at Japan, look at Korea. I've been reading articles. Say, look, can I trust USA? Will I get a nuclear umbrella over me? If USA is not prepared to do that, why shouldn't I develop my own nuclear weapons? If I develop my own nuclear weapons and do whatever I have to do, then I don't need America. These are the questions which are coming up in thing. And then his attitudes might lead to rearmament of Germany and rearmament of Japan. Please remember, these are great ramifications. Already yesterday only I discussed this in Gunner Shot. And those who are you from Gunner Shot will understand. I discussed this with our ex-ambassador to West Germany, or Germany, Ambassador Gurjit Singh. They've allotted $500 billion for their defense. They've done a lot of confabulations to get over their own issues, right? In their own constitution and all that, in Bundestag, to circumvent their own constitution to rearm themselves. Now, if that is what Germany is doing to restart their economy, if that happens, and Japan is also on the same track, then no one will want America. If this is not there, the America will decline. I mean, it's a natural outflow. I'm not going right. I'm not talking on the internal issues. You look at trade war. He started a trade war with China. Now he's not only started a trade war with China, he started a trade war with everyone. Okay, he might say at this point of time, everyone wants to trade with me, or I'll do what I want. All that nonsense. If he had started a trade war only with China, maybe think everyone would have aligned with him. But he's done with everyone. With China, he's not making headway. At the end of the day, the trade war with China will debilitate China, and it will debilitate USA also. It's happening. There's always already some kind of a recession happening in USA. You might not say it, but it's there. When Americans start saying we want to save, there's worry. There's reason to worry. Right? We don't know. We have to save for a rainy day. Americans have never seen a rainy day economically. But today they're talking of this. I'm talking of ground level things. I'm not talking of. Okay. Now, you look at the way, India was supposed to be a strategic partner. Op Sindoor happened all overnight. You see, Pakistan is in bed with the USA. The chap Asim Munir is called for the 250th anniversary Army Day parade. One doesn't know whether it's
Sir,
right,
that is
wrong,
fake
or
news,
not.
sir. Sir, that is fake news. He was not
I
called
don't
by.
know, but
They made it up.
the fact is, look, you might laugh it off as fake news, but the fact is, it has created an impression, isn't it? See, please understand what I'm trying to get at. The influence which USA had over many countries is being lost. Now you look at it, the way he's done the switch with Pakistan. Why is he done that switch for maybe crypto, maybe for minerals, maybe for his thing? But what has he lost? He's lost India. Same way he's losing Japan, he's losing Germany. He's also lost Iran to a large extent. I mean, Iran though is gone. He's also he's losing Israel. Now, if this entire story in Middle East doesn't go well, he'll lose Middle East also. And in all this, no one is waiting for Trump. No one is waiting, America will come back and I'll do my deals. I'll go to someone else. People will find water will flow, whichever way it has to flow. And it will not wait for America to be showing the path. And America will not be the leader then. Then someone else will lead the way he wants. Look, my 1.4 billion people have to progress. They'll progress with or without America. America is not the reason why we have come here and become the fastest growing economy. It is not due to American help. In fact, it is the opposite, quite the opposite. So if it is quite the opposite, I don't need America. I'll go to Japan. I might even go to China if it suits me. He's opened up options to people which were never there. Right? And and all this is going to have a blowback. Or American companies want to now quit America. You look at Apple, case of Apple. Apple has said, look, yeah, I can't do anything in America. I'll get you profits, but I can't get you manufacturing in America. It's known, but he's still squeezing them. So what will Apple do? He'll say, yeah, okay, he'll put up a small factory over there, and he'll make Trump inaugurated, but his bigger establishments will still be outside. So if you look at it, geopolitically, people have lost trust. They don't trust USA. Not that trust on USA was high, but whatever little was there is gone. Right? So that portends a geopolitical decline. If you don't have influence on what others have to do, then you're already in decline. So this is so much so about the external factor. I'll talk of the internal factor later. All right? I'll rest my case at this point of time. We'll come back and we can think. Yeah.
General Dushyant, would you like to add to that, sir?
Yeah, I totally agree with Jan Shankar. 2-3 things I wanted to add, and that is I had mentioned about it very briefly in my previous comment. There are two things which are actually becoming counterproductive as far as Trump's policies are concerned. related to geopolitics. The first one is the combative nature. He's got a combative nature, which is somehow, initially people felt that he's trying to break the existing setup and create new normals. But unfortunately, those new normals are not going ahead because he's changing them so rapidly that nobody's actually able to get settled into a new normal. Before somebody wants to settle into a new normal, another normal picks up. For example, he started off with great fanfare as far as India was concerned. India, US strategic partnership, and a whole lot of Indian Prime Minister's visit to US. A lot of talks were made, and Op Sindoor happens. What Jan Shankar said. Suddenly, he has changed tune without actually saying anything. He suddenly started talking of pro-Pakistan, like you yourself said that there are some aircraft which were actually floating around in the I did a program here in the Pakistani airspace. So he negotiated with the Pakistanis to have possibly a military base now, from where he can handle both Afghanistan, China, and
Iran.
the Iranian situation. But what does it further indicate? That Pakistan is also now going to suffer badly, because the Chinese are not going to just let the US have a free run as far as Pakistan is concerned. They have sunk almost $67 billion into Pakistan, so-called their flagship project of CPEC. And if CPEC goes a begging, let me tell you, China will start losing its influence, whatever it has in the Southeast Asia and the other South countries which are there in the world. So therefore, and in my view, also, if you look at the voting patterns in the UN, I think the Chinese are having greater influence than the US in terms of voting. You found in the last ceasefire thing, voting which took place in the UNGA, only 12 countries actually favored Israel. India chose to be abstaining because of our excessive closeness with Israel for our own security needs, which is, I also support that. But the fact of the matter is that if you want to take the world as a world leader, then you got to get everybody on your side. Otherwise, you are now fighting a trust deficit battle. Slowly, people will start look at their thing. They have withdrawn from all international forums. Whether it is the
Yeah.
World Bank, or whether, I mean, they have not physically done it, but they have stopped giving aid to a number of countries. Later on, they have revived some aid, etc. But they're doing pick and choose kind of an activity. I think somewhere his policies of disruption are not paying off correctly, because disruption also has a pattern. Look, disruption has a pattern, but his disruption is also disruption. Where there is no pattern emerging, I don't see any pattern emerging in uh, the US president's policies. It seems like he's going nowhere, haywire. Haywire. He's going haywire today. Whether it is the Middle East, look at Middle East. What all he's got at stake now. He just struck a deal with Saudi Arabia. He struck a deal with Qatar. All that will go for a six if Persian Gulf is blocked and the state of the Red Sea is blocked. Your entire trade of oil and energy will go what? Okay, America may not get disrupted, but the world will get disrupted. If the world gets disrupted, then who's going to back America? See, a lot of developing countries are dependent on the oil which comes from the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea. This is a major global factor. The prices will rise, the domestic prices of other countries will rise, and it will all get directly attributed to Trump. Because despite the fact that Trump is not openly saying anything, but he's backing the Israelis as far as this particular action is taking place between Israel and Iran. You see, if India started doing retribution, it was stopped within 3 days. This retribution continues ad bellum. It will just continue ad infinity. So there has to be some consistency in policy. You want to teach a lesson, teach a lesson. But if you want to destroy somebody's nuclear capability, then you have to destroy that nation. And if you destroy that nation, it's not easy, especially Iran. Iran is an old civilization. It has to be tackled through multiple approaches. It has to be tackled with a little bit of stick and little bit of diplomacy. You have actually ruined everything. You went into a deal, Iranian deal, and then that Iranian deal on nuclearization got cancelled, and thereafter things have not improved at all. You said that you will give diplomacy a chance. You did not give diplomacy a chance at all. So I think somewhere disruption is getting disrupted, and we are seeing this trend continuing to grow more and more intense. And before this, we were talking about it. Middle East will be the harbinger of future conflicts in the world.
Thank you, General
One
Dushan
by
Singh. Sir, this is
one,
the third round, sir.
one by
Let's
one,
wrap up. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Yeah.
one by one, each country of the Middle East will get involved.
Sorry, I thought you had finished, General Dushan Singh. So sorry about that.
No,
General
no, I
Ravishankar?
just said that. I just said that the entire Middle East will get involved in this war. Now you just see.
Yeah, yeah. General Shankar, you said we're looking at the external impact of United States losing control. Now you can touch upon the internal challenges. I may have a few things to add. I would like you to lead because you're watching this thing much more keenly. You read a lot more than I do.
Yeah. Look, let's go back to January when Trump got sworn in. He's come with the idea that everything is wrong with USA. I mean, it's a contradiction. Oh, everything is wrong with USA. I'll set it right. But still, USA is the greatest power on earth. So it's a psychological contradiction which is playing out. Okay. So everything is wrong with USA. Whatever he feels is wrong is what is wrong. Okay. There's no consensus on it. So he comes, he starts off dodge and this and that, and suddenly he says, "I want Mexico. This tariffs, all that nonsense which he started, because that's what he feels will set things right." Maybe he's right. Maybe his think tanks, he would have had a team working on all this, would have given him all this. Fine. Everyone knows the manufacturing in USA has been hollowed out. It was not done by Joe Biden. It was even done by him in his previous tenure. So he's contributed to it. And it's happened over a period of time. No one asked USA to go and hand over manufacturing to China. They'd handed it over to them on a plate. It suited USA. Now you have to reverse it. Reverse it. Take steps. Where are the cogent steps? There has to be a policy. It can't say you tell everyone, you force people to come here and, all that. They might not be interested. Like Tim Cook, he said, I'm not interested in setting up a factory in USA. I'll go and set it up in India. Or I'll go and set it up in Swaziland. No, people are not there. Then there's dodge. Oh, every bureaucracy is to be broken, cut. Yeah, they brought Elon Musk in. Elon Musk went hammer and tongs and all that. And then what happened? One fine day, his own cabinet people have a fight. They have fist fights. And all this comes into the open. And then someone says, no, this dodge is not done enough. It's all a fake. I mean, the whole story is zero. But after having achieved a zero, you also achieved a bad blood. Right? Then you trade insults with people online. You insult people and people insult you back. No, is that the way a country is run? Then you get after immigrants. I understand America has a huge immigration problem. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But the fundamental thing is, who in America is not an immigrant? Who are the original Americans? The original Americans are in reservations today. Even this Trump fellow and his forefathers were immigrants. America is a nation of immigrants. Who's that guy, Class of Civilizations, who wrote, I'm forgetting his name.
Professor Samuel
Huntington. Samuel Huntington. Samuel Huntington has also written a book, Who is an American? Or something to that effect. And he describes very well that, look, America is a land of immigrants. He analyzes it. That's not a very well-known book of his, but he's written it. And he says, who's an American? There's no American. Okay, the actual American is that chap who was hunting bisons in some reservations. That's it. He is living a poor life. It's the others. So America is based on immigrants. The original rich Americans whom you saw, the Anglo-Saxon Americans or the Spanish Americans, or those people, or the French people, who had cotton, plantations and this and that and all that, the elite, right? They don't work anymore. The demography is gone. Who works? It's the immigrants. I've stayed in America on and off. Who I see working? Mexicans, blacks, Spaniards, low-level guys who come and collect garbage or fix your electricity or plumbing. That no white does. The Anglo-Saxon white rarely does. So without them, what do you do? And then you say they should be all thrown out. Okay, they might have to be thrown out. You might have to curb illegal immigration. Fine, you want to stop all the illegal immigration from Mexico and put a put something in place, put an order in place. Now you have what has he done? He started with LA, now it is spread to all over America. I mean, I've never seen a case in my entire life where this has happened. The last time it was happened in the years of Martin Luther King. In the race riots which used to take place, and when slavery was abolished and things like that. Had to go back to that time when a franchise was given in the time of Edward Kennedy, Bob Kennedy's. So you see that the structure of America at grassroots level has changed. And then this man, he says, I want to have the 250th anniversary of US Army, a great parade. Now, everyone knows that America is not a great country for parades. Out of the blue, he has this. Why? Just because it's his birthday? That's why I said he conflicts national interest with his self-interest. The moment a leader starts doing this conflation, right? The moment a leader starts conflating his personal interest with national interest, the nation declines. The person and his cohorts might go up, but the nation declines. That is why this is an internal thing. I mean, can you imagine a parade is taking place and on the same day there's another parade on the Golden Gate Bridge where it starts sagging? Can you think of all these things? Then you see a targeted political assassinations, which is not there for a long time. I don't know when was the last political assassination of this kind happened. When a representative is shot dead, there's a man named Thorn. I mean, that's a different story. And a senator is also shot. When did all this happen? You go back Vietnam days. After that, were there any great political assassinations which took place? Yeah, there are always attempts on the presidents of America, including one on Mr. Trump. It's there. That's the thing. And we need to also understand that America by nature is a violent place. This is one of the few countries where you can carry a gun and loaf around. Right? And in such a violent place, if you are going to be, you call a governor, his name is Newsom, and you call him Newscom. Okay. What happens? You're pitted, and it's a federal system. In a federal system, California is a big state, and it goes against the country, and the country goes against this thing. You have to deploy. There's a method in any democracy. There's a method in deploying troops. You have to locally handle it first. Then you have to requisition for troops in the this thing, and then they come. All that. At the height of any riots, even in India, Mr. Modi has never sent the army to take over the situation first. The army goes in at the behest of the state. The state has to requisition the army. That's our law. I mean, and that law is no different. In fact, it is more stringent in USA. In such a case, in fact, there is almost no scope to deploy the army within the borders of USA. For that, that's the National Guard which is supposed to do. And he's twisted everything and deployed Marines there. Now, what are you doing? You are cutting the democratic roots of the system. And you're getting constitutional issues. Have you seen in the past 50 years so many suits against or you know lawsuits against the president? His law, whatever he is, he's the most powerful man on earth. That's what they say. That's what I've heard when I was a kid. The most powerful office on earth is that of the president of USA. Now every Tom, Dick, and Harry is suing him for everything which he says. So where look, so far the American decline was of a particular nature. It was systemic. It was epochal. It was bound to happen. It was cyclic and all. What this chap has done is a disruptive decline. He is kicking America into a disruptive decline. That's what Dushyant also said earlier. Disruption. Now, external disruption come internal disruption harms only one. It's America. The question before America is, can America throw up a leader to contain this decline or to stem this decline? So far, you don't see any leader coming up. That's why I say Trump is heralding a decline. I agree with General Dushyant. It has not declined so far, but it will decline now. Unless, of course, something happens, some self-correction happens. The only hope is that America is a strong enough nation to ride over a president or do whatever it has to do with this president. But this man is going to push it down. Yeah, I'm prepared to take questions, or of course, I'm sure Dushyant also has his views.
I
You're muted.
General Dushyant, your final thoughts,
Yeah.
and then we'll go to questions, sir.
Quick, yeah, I'll not take much time. Quick 5 points. First of all, I think behind all this uh, discussion which we have had, there are 4 5 important factors which are actually undermining the US president. Firstly is his team. I find that the team which he has in uh, president's tenure the second time round is not really on top of things. I think the people lack the experience, except for Rubio. I don't see anyone who has that requisite policy experience to guide the president. And on top of it, his attitude has further made things untenable. The second thing is about the tariffs. I think overplaying the tariffs across the board with everyone is also annoying its allies and the I won't say foes, but the people who are opposed to him. The third thing is the transactional policies are very well welcome. Most of the countries are in the transactional mode, but the transactional policies driven by personalized intent is something which is again undermining the entire growth of America, which is leading to lack of trust. Now, this trust deficit is not only external, it is also internal. It is now almost becoming 50-50 divide, which is there, which is a huge thing in a country like America, where the trust deficit was not so excessively polarized. And the second last thing which I want to highlight here is that his human resource management, I think that is lacking absolutely. He has no person to advise him on South Asia. He appointed Paul Kapoor to be South Asia advisor as under secretary. Where is his confirmation? It's lying in some can somewhere, and he's still in Naval Postgraduate School pulling his heels. So if he's not going to get good advice, I don't think he's going to actually take good actions, and which is ultimately going to harm him. And the last bit is, do not underplay perception. Today, in the social media, Trump is losing heavily. He's losing heavily amongst all the polls which are taking place, and that will ultimately affect the people who are doing internal duties and internal jobs. They won't have their mind in the way they are going to function here. So I think with these uh, 6 big issues which I highlighted are the major reasons why what we are seeing in the US and why we are seeing it in this manner unfolding. Unless these are addressed, I'm sorry, we will see further decline. The only hope is that America as a structure has been always strong. It has rebounded in the
Yeah.
70s when it had undergone some problems in those eras. During Clinton time, also it rebounded back when there was a huge economic inflationary trends which had happened. So the only hope is the strong structures and checks and balances of the United States of America, if America has to rise up to the occasion. Thank you. I think I'll stop here.
I just
Thank you
want
so much.
to,
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, sir.
I saw a headline and I thought I must share it with you. Right? It says, I do a lot, never get credit. This is Trump saying, I do a lot, never get credit. So he thinks he's doing a lot. You see, that's the point. He thinks he's doing a lot, but does it meet everyone's requirement? It doesn't, right? And like what Jen Doshan said, America is a place of lot of checks and balances, strong structures, and everything. And we invariably in India, when we talk of certain issues, we refer to America and how they deal with it. And this man is undermining those structures. He's slowly chipping away at those structures. And he's very right. There's an incompetent team that, right? There's a team which doesn't tell the president, look, this is it and no more. Okay. And that is why I told you, look, Trump is heralding America's decline. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I don't want to sound like a Trump apologist, but I can give you one rationale behind giving tariffs, imposing tariffs on all countries. And the rationale being that China was finding other ways to try and beat tariff which was imposed on China. And this has been proven. Vietnam, Cambodia, Mexico, I can go on. So this was one of the reasons used. And what you said about having, fistfights inside the cabinet room, yes, the rumors of that have come. There is a bigger picture going on, which it is, unless you are deep into the financial markets of the world, you will not be able to, discern that. There is something called as LIBOR, LIBOR, London Interchange Bank Operating Rate. And United States used to depend on this for all their loans. They were using that as the basis for whether it was car loan, whether it was a rental agreement, whether it was a business agreement, anything, LIBOR was considered the reference. And in 2019, United States switched away from LIBOR to Standard Overnight Financing Rate, SOFR. And this is basically something that's much more transparent than LIBOR, because US felt that LIBOR was gaming the system. And basically what this has meant is there is a battle going on for the financial control of the world. Who do you use? What do you use? Final contracts based on LIBOR in United States stopped on March 31st, 2025. After that, there's been a lot of what I would call as attacks on the financial system on United States, but United States has withstood all that. Some of these things are deliberate placements in news to try and deflect attention away. It is difficult for you to fathom it unless you understand the other problem that's going on, the financial challenge. I just leave it at that, because that's not what we came here to talk about. This is a more deeper play.
Yeah, I understand that you are defending Trump. I have no problem with what you're saying. I have no doubt about his intent. No problems. I'm not. His intent might have been good, and then his intent as a president of USA should have been and could be America first. After all, he's the president of America. He has to look to American interests, not Indian interests. I'm aware of that. I'm aware of this tariff story and all that. Why every day I also deal with it and how he's going about with China. But there were better ways. There were better methods. There were better approaches. There were approaches where you could have. See, the point is this. Today, I'll make a simple thing. If you want to sort out China, which I started, you could have used methods by which you wanted to sort out China and get people on your side to help them sort out China. Now you're trying to sort out India, which can sort out China. So you don't get India on your side, or for that matter, any other country. So that is the point, sir. I understand what you're saying.
Very true.
If America
Very true.
wants
Very true.
independence,
Yeah.
I
And
have no issue with it.
there are ways to deal with it. You know, I was
Yes,
interacting with a
deal with it.
I was interacting with a Japanese delegation, and we were talking about tariffs. And so one of the members of the Japanese delegation said, "Look, we are also bothered with the tariffs which India lays on Japan." And he mentioned a very unique example. He said, "You know, we get mangoes from India, and the tariff is 50%. But you know, over a period of time, we have had dialogues, and this tariff has been brought down." What my point was that there are ways and means to actually have this thing done, and I think there is a hope here because Jashankar did make a statement that by end of I think a month or so, we
Yeah,
are likely to have a free trade agreement. So all is not lost. It's only that a lot of things are happening behind the scene, which possibly will come to light as and when these trade deals
Yes,
are
indeed.
materializing. The UK deal has already materialized, and the people who are in love of whiskey are very happy in India. Okay.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.